Hey guys, it's Casual Friday. That means it's Nancy Matz's Friday, and we're going to be talking science and synchronicities. See you in about 5 minutes. Grab your popcorn and snacks. Find a comfy spot, take a seat or lie down, and let me transport you to a place of fantasy, ghost stories, ancient legends, odd creatures, alien encounters, and other magical topics. You may even decide to join the conversation. From faraway lands to your own backyard, with a small dash of pixie dust. Turn out the lights and open your minds. The journey is about to begin. Hey everybody, welcome to California Haunts Radio. It is Casual Friday. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for the next hour. I'm also the owner. Excuse me, let me get this running. I'm also the owner of the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team based out of Sacramento, California. We are 45 strong up and down the state, looking for new members. Always looking for new members. But, we're up and down the state, which means if you have a paranormal need or you think you might have a paranormal need, whether it's cryptids, ghosties, UFO sighting, anything like that, get a hold of us. It may take us a couple days to get to you. California is a state that's fascinating because when people tend to think about California, they think about beaches. It's kind of like Hawaii. Yes, we have a lot of beaches, beautiful, pristine beaches. However, we also have a lot of farmers' fields. We have a lot of open land. We've got deserts, high desert, mountains. So that's what I mean by it might take us a day or two to get to you. But if that's the case, then we have mediums on staff who can consult with you ahead of time. And in most cases, if there is something paranormal going on at your place of residence or business, they can calm the activity down until we get out there. But it never takes us more than 1 or 2 days to get out there, no matter what. Okay? All right. That being said, tomorrow I am teaching a basic psychic development class. I call it Psychic Development 1. And I'll be teaching that tomorrow, I believe, at 6 p.m. Pacific. And that's for people who think they might have psychic abilities or know they have psychic abilities and they're just trying to learn to control them. Because when you're first starting out, as you know, we're working with your abilities, it's hard to harness that. Okay? That psychic door, it opens. And sometimes it's hard for newer psychics to close the door. All right? And not all good things are going to come through that door. And that's what I teach. I'm self-taught. I teach you how to open and close that door so that you keep the baddies out. I'm also teaching you how to do out-of-body experiences where you can actually go to your spirit library, meet your spirit guide, meet your spirit animal, see your spirit object, and sometimes the spirit guide will even write something down for you. I teach you how to do that, to come back and forth, and I teach you how to re-enter your body and that kind of thing. And so if it sounds like something that you're interested in, come on over to the California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team Meetup. Go under Events, under Psychic Development Class 1, and you can get signed up over there. Also with this class, too, we do extra exercises because, not all psychics are alike, right? People might be better at maybe remote viewing. People might be better at even, tarot or whatever. During the class, I have exercises, so we do stuff like that to see where your strong points might be. Some psychics can do it all. Nancy can do it all, and Bender can do it all. But there are psychics that, Trish on our team can do it all, and Karen Clark can do it all. I mean, it's like there's just there's some gifted psychics that can do that, but not everybody can. So this class will help you realize, can you do it all, or what parts of that ability do you actually have. So like I said, join me tomorrow 6 p.m. Pacific. Sign up at the California Haunts Meetup. It's been doing that. Okay. See, it'll do that, then it kicks back in. I don't think it likes me. Anyway, it's kind of fun. Like, at least I'm not doing something horrible when it does that. So yeah, so if you're interested in that, sign up over at Meetup under Events, and it'll get you going. We'll get you a link, and we'll teach this class tomorrow and teach you how to better guard yourself. I'm going to teach you grounding techniques and all that stuff as well. So come on over, California Haunts Meetup. Also, on Sunday, I have a couple more spots that have opened up on my paranormal team. And if you're interested in joining one of Northern California's premier paranormal teams, come on over. I teach this class. This is the same class I teach to my old moldy oldie investigators. Everybody takes this class, and this is the class you have to take in order to do the first steps to join my team. Okay, so it's very hardcore, very very intense, but you learn a lot in the class. And then after the class, if you like what you hear, next step is we're going to have this get together in mid-August, so my older investigators can meet you guys and see how good the fit is. And then if everything works out with that, then you move on to official investigation with the team, where you get hands-on with the equipment and everything else. Okay, And with that class on Sunday, I also teach some basic equipment use because a lot of the time the teams aren't using the equipment correctly. No matter what you've seen on TV, there's certain ways to use their equipment and certain ways to not use the equipment. And so I teach all that. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, you want to be a part of, and I can honestly say this, one of the best teams in Northern California. Come on over to the California Haunts Meetup and California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team Meetup and sign up. Okay, sign up for the class. Just go under events and sign up. All right. That being said, today it's Casual Friday. It's Nancy Matz Friday. We're going to be talking signs and synchronicities. Also, if you're watching from Facebook tonight and you like what you see, please feel free to hit that follow button because we're always looking for followers. Let's make sure this doesn't fall over on me or something. We're always looking for followers. And also, what I asked, because we want to get up higher in the FYP at Facebook, so show me some love, give me some happy faces, smiley faces, thumbs up, things like that, hearts, because we're trying to get pushed up, and the more of those you give us, it gets Facebook's algorithms to put us out more to a lot more people. So if you can do that, that'd be great. Just like in the chat room, comment away, that helps too. Same thing with YouTube. If you haven't subscribed already and you like what you hear today, please be sure to share it with others that you know, and be sure to subscribe. We've got I think it's 700 videos sitting over there now, and I add a few over there too because when I was in YouTube jail, we did a whole 7 days of shows that never showed up on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and start uploading those this evening, and then you guys will have those to watch as well. Our Patreon, I did a pre-recorded interview yesterday with a gentleman, or the day before yesterday, and that's going to be up at the Patreon by late this evening. So you guys that are members of our Patreon, please feel free to go over and check that out. And the Patreon has some really good, it's $5 a month membership, and the Patreon has some really good stuff where you guys get to see any pre-recorded interview up to 2 weeks ahead of time from the normal show date, okay? Also, we're going to start going, I keep saying this, but I haven't had time because I've been playing catch-up with stuff. But we're going to start getting some of these guests to come over for Patreon-only question and answer periods, maybe for an hour or whatever. Maybe Nancy Matz will be the first one to break that in. But we're going to start doing that at the Patreon as well. And that's only for subscribers, okay? So that's a thing. So head on over to the California Haunts Patreon. I believe there's a link to it in the description of this show. If not, I'll have to add it in there after the show, but there should be a link. Or what you want to do is if you're over on YouTube, you can actually go click on another Nancy Matz show from past weeks, and the link is at the bottom of that. Okay, so here, that's it. It's a nutshell, right? We got a psychic development class tomorrow. Sign up, California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team Meetup. We've got a California Haunts team looking for members. That's also over at the Meetup. Sign up over there under events. And now we've got the Patreon that you can sign up for as well. And all this money that comes in is to help us keep things going, to buy equipment, to pay the bills. That's all it's for. That's all we want. Okay, that being said, same thing on YouTube, same routine. If you like what you see, go ahead and sign up, to subscribe. Leave us a thumbs up, leave us a happy face, all that good stuff. Comments, and that puts us up higher in the FYP, and we get distributed out to more and more people. All right, that being said, if you're at home tonight, and let's say you're not the only one in the house, and you are listening to the show and you like it, call people in and say, hey, there's this really cool little show out there that I just started listening to, or I've been listening to. Come on in and check it out. And share. I have no problem with you sharing the show. If you're watching the show from Facebook or YouTube and you want to share it out to let people know, that it's on, friends of yours that may not be aware of it, share. We're trying to get everything going and keep things going. Just like subscribers at YouTube, trying to build up to that 1,000 subscribers. We're getting there. We have 350 to go. So let's see if we can't, in the next week or so, cut that margin down, okay? All right, now that I'm out of breath, Nancy Matz is coming on, and we're going to be talking signs and synchronicities, okay? So let's do it. Let's get the show on the road, and away we go.
Hi, everybody. Seems like I was just here a couple days ago. Hi. Hello, everybody. I need to move this over, my notes, see who's in the chat room tonight. Oh, hello, everybody. Hello. Oh, we got a nice little a name maybe I don't recognize. Lynn?
Yes, it's a new name.
Is that a new name? Nice to meet you, young lady.
Yeah. New victim.
That's usually what I say with my clients. Ooh, a new person. Yay.
Ooh, we're starting.
uh,
So begins.
oh my gosh. I've been had a couple clients today and I was talking. So I have my hot coffee here, even though it's a hot day. So if I bring up to like this, it's to keep talking, everybody. I always
I
tell
can tell
everybody,
everybody too. I'm gonna tell everybody ahead of
huh?
time. I haven't had lunch yet. I haven't had lunch yet today, so I've got a blueberry
Oh,
bagel. So you might see me kind of.
you have a bagel to eat on air?
It's casual. It's casual Friday.
Oh, please. I
I'm not
mean,
putting no
something a little
flavor.
softer, but a bagel, let's rip that thing.
I did. I ripped it in half. I'm ripping parts off of it.
Oh my gosh.
I look like a
Um,
little kid trying to eat the good stuff. Leave the bagel to itself. All
all
right, go
right,
ahead.
kid. Go ahead. We did talk about this once before, some months
Yes.
back. And
Yes.
what we're bringing up is a little different scenario. I have three cases I would like to talk about. Um, in fact, we were going to talk about this 2 weeks ago, and Shar had brought it up, but I just had a client with a lot of issues, and I want to bring that up. Since then, I've had two more. Never people don't call me when they're in good moods. They have issues. So I have a lot of material. One of these days, Shar gets enough peoples. Let's get those subscribers up. Then maybe I'll start a little bit of a show of my own to get these going of client issues. My family thinks I'm lonely to 33 years, everybody. I've got cassettes and hard drives of people's sessions that I'll be able to tap into. And we're talking tens of thousands. So tonight in synchronicity and coincidence, synchronicity uh, to represent or arrange events to indicate a coexistence of synchronicities of knowing, to make happen. And sometimes it's not always easy to see, but you'll think back and go, oh, domino effect, domino effect. So I started here, and that was synchronicity to get to this end result. Coincidence is something that's not planned. And this has happened like all the time to me. It's kind of crazy. The first husband, we built a house together, and it was on Tanglewood. This current husband, we finally moved to our last house. It's on Tanglewood. And that coincidence is so big. There was other things happening that are the same as before. And I think, and then I married two Larrys. Like, what? What? My family is full of these coincidences. The synchronicities of my living on Tanglewood, and my first husband and I lived on Tanglewood very early in our marriage. And this is at my age. I'm hopefully stay here on Tanglewood. It's just amazing to think that's possible. So that always amazes me that these are so blatantly in my face that at times I kind of yell at the universe, what are you trying to tell me? What are you teaching me now? And it seems endless because I believe in the divine. I believe that we are guided, that there are no coincidence, no synchronicity, that things happen in a path that's exactly the way it should be. I've had cancer, everybody. I've looked at Graves' disease. I almost died with both of them. I could have died with one. I was lucky. The second one, I was 3 hours from a fatal, a heart attack from no potassium in my body. I have looked at
Wow.
death, fell off a horse. My horse and I went over a cliff, hit a rock finally. I was I was on her back. Rattlesnake or something scared her. And we went inside Butters. She was 17 hands. She was huge, quarter and appy. Anybody know what those horses look like? I'm like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And she went over the cliff and Auburn Lake trails from, I know most people aren't listening to this, know where I'm talking about, but we have a big lake called Folsom Lake. And Douglas is where the trail started, ending at
Mm-hmm.
Auburn, which was a gradual but consistently going uphill. Well, you get some good size drop offs. So Butters and I went over that, and I slid onto her belly. And I had my legs like I was riding the horse. I remember thinking, this may not turn out very good. Of course, I would think that. And I thought, well, let me see. And it was like slow motion. It was like when I was talking about when I was in this bad accident, and there was a cement divider. Well, I did get off. I did survive the horse fall. She hit a rock with my saddle. And if I'd been on that side, I would have hit the rock. It was a good sized rock.
My
And
question
when I,
is, what for the horse?
the horse, of course, she was fine. She'd been through
Really?
150-mile. Yeah. Yeah. She was headed downhill and I was on her backside. I mean, her belly side. And my legs were amazingly, neither one of us hurt. And we got up the hill and I was riding with Linda and her daughter. And Linda says to me, well, do we turn around and go back? Do you want to just walk with her? And I says, I'm going to get on her because I know that if I walk her to the top, which was miles, I would never get on her again. So I got on her and I've done quite a few races to talk about. But all these things that happen in our life, you want to know, okay, is it our angels, our guides? Is it
Mhm.
intuition or is the force with us? And so I'm going to give you some ideas on why I'm bringing this up because it's not like you're going to put it in your life, but you can witness it in other people's lives
Mhm.
ah, and get a better idea. I'm going to close my email down because you don't need to listen to that forever. Um, it will help balance your life a little bit, not by looking at the way I do, but maybe I can give you an idea how to look at it differently.
Mhm.
I had a client just recently, and she calls me up, a lovely lady. All my ladies are wonderful, and a gentleman. I just had a gentleman tonight in Wisconsin. You talked to my fiance 12 years ago. Now it's my turn. I go, really? I thought to myself, he wants to talk tomorrow. I thought, 12 years. He's just now getting a reading from me. So it takes that long sometimes. I think, wow, that's so exciting. Client says she's out of control. No matter what she does, she can't seem to feel like she's on path. And she's a lady in her
Mhm.
50s. Um, and I liked her. Her energy was bubbly. She seems ambitious, um, yet she couldn't ground herself. And as we were talking, it felt like she thought she had a different direction ahead of her. And
Mhm.
I had to point out to her that if she looked closely and calmly, she would feel that what's being presented to her. She wanted a promotion, she wanted this over here, yet it seemed like everybody was trying to get her to be over there. And I says, don't you
Mhm.
realize that in two promotions after you get that clerk job, it's going to be exactly what you want? And I gave her some details. I said, what makes you think that you're off track? She says, I can't. I says, oh, are you trying to tell me you can't be calm enough to witness the universe at work? Uh, uh. So then I said to her, by the way, I just popped out to 93 years. That year is shown to me not necessarily as death, but the day you sit down and you say, I'm going to rest for the rest of my life. It, I don't want people to think when I give an age, I don't even ask for it. I just shown. And I said, and she says, oh my God, all my life I thought I would live to be 90. I says, well, maybe you sit down at 90 and you can pass away at 93, or you're going to sit down at 90 and I pick you up at 93 at a birthday party. Who knows? Because I don't think we're supposed to predict death, especially for you. If I'm talking to you, I won't do that. Well, how unfair is that of me? What kind of control
Mhm.
do I think I want over you? The last thing I want, everybody, is your life. I'm. How come I'm off center again? How do I move my computer, everybody? There you go, a little bit. Kind of looks odd when I'm looking sideways. Um, so what I had to do is say to her, "You're not out of control. You're not paying attention. You're not relaxing to see your life unfold." So I was talking to a client once who wanted to die, and she was very calm and very collective. Actually, a few people, and I'm not sure I know why people who are suicidal want to talk to me to prove to them that we survive or prove to her or him that there's more to life.
Mhm.
Kind of frightening. Sometimes I think I don't know that I have enough training in suicide, death, dying, recovery, grief. Yeah, absolutely. New career paths for women who divorce. I mean, like the list goes on, let alone seeing dead relatives. But when people say, I want to kill myself, give me a reason to live, which has happened. And my
Mhm.
friend, my lady friend, I said very calmly, I said, I've always liked you and I want to see how my movie ends, but I'd like to see your movie also to the end. I'd like to see what you bring to you, and I'd like to see what the universe presents to you. For you to deny yourself the opportunity to explore more, I didn't. I could. I don't know what if I said more, but she heard me because we're given an opportunity to live here for as long as we're supposed to live here. And I joke with people. I says, and Shar and I have talked endless hours on, are we getting out of life what we want? Are we playing enough? How come we haven't died? And I told her one day, I says, no one up there wants me. I'm going to be here for as long as I'm supposed to be here. No one wants to get a cancer again or die from something else unexpected. No one wants that. But
Okay, I'm gonna
sometimes
pop
it's
you
how
real
we.
quick. Your lips are out of sync. Hang on. Just pop you out, pop you back in. Okay,
That's kind of
continue.
like what. That's kind of like watching the. Oh, my husband loves these Italian
Yes.
westerns, and the lips aren't synced up.
Which one is this? All right, we're good.
I. By the way, he's watching. We're wall to wall here. Um, the fights and the kung fu from around the world, and they're very loud tonight. He has turned down, but if you hear a lot of yelling, it's the TV with the big finales and things that are going on. Friday night is his fight night. So anyway, um, so the people that want to commit suicide, I think sometimes we have to have a moment of deciding where you want to go. Now, the friend that called me up, and I've known her 25 years, this is probably 4 or 5 years back, and 3 years back, excuse me. And um, she is very, very bright, acknowledgeable. She just couldn't see the point of where she was at in life and the struggle to continue. It was heartbreaking for me. And that's when I said I'd like to know, after I said to her, I'd like to see my movie, how it ends, because I've come real close. And Shar and I have talked about it, kind of had a good laugh a few times, like, Jesus,
Mhm.
they don't, excuse me, they don't want us, so we're not supposed to go.
Mhm.
And she just couldn't see the future for herself. And she's very intuitive. I says, why are you blocking it? She says, I'm frustrated, that's all. And I says, you have love ahead of you. You need to allow that to blossom. And you're denying the person that's meant for you to show up, to find
Mhm.
you. Well, guess what? Bells and whistles are going off. She met him
Mhm.
maybe 2 months back. And unfortunately, he had to finish it with a woman that was from his past. So he said, I've been here a month, but she's calling me. So he was gone a week, and she was very depressed. And he come back and he says, it's done. We're going to go forward. And she called me up. She says, I can't believe it. I didn't put in her, I didn't bring up, well, remember our conversation, because I just really adore her. And I can appreciate when people's lives are hard. We've all had hard. I I have had real hard. So is Shar. But that doesn't mean I want to stop our living. And I've also told people that I must be picking up someone who's going to be watching this or listening who's thinking, why am I still here? What's the point? And I guess at some point I have to also add very carefully that if you're contemplating suicide and it is not in a place or a time that you're supposed to go, you will live with the results. Whether you jump out of an airplane or try to drown or you shoot your face off, I have had clients who are still living with those results. And they're angry. And I says, well, God doesn't want you. What if you stood from a train? Well, that's your choice. Maybe that's the point you were supposed to go. Maybe you had to suffer first. But I so believe in survival um, that it's almost amazing to me. I'm going to get off track here. Um, let's see. I have notes here. Everybody got 4 pages again. And the one that I talked about, calm down, is that she needs to take a breath and she needs to relax so that she is relaxed enough to see the divine synchronicity or coincidence being given to her to know the true path. Sometimes I line it with a trench. You're you're on the edge of the trench. You're up here, and you keep feeling like you're going to fall off, and you don't know that you want to. You keep fighting it. But the universe is saying, just a little bit, you're going to feel real comfortable, and it feels like everything happens for a reason, and it's following just right. It's almost like everything opens up to you. And I explained that to the woman who was all wound up about work and very upset. And she got it. She understood that. Um, and that was what I really wanted to say. I also told her, I said, we all need to have a list of the things we want to accomplish. I write all the time, and I've been typing forever. So to me, making a list is kind of hard on me, but I do it mentally. I do know what I want to do. I have 8 more books to write. And I told the universe, if you're going to have me around, let me do 8, because that's the ones that are all lined out. So I've done 3 and I have 8 to begin with. Let's see how many I can get done, everybody. So that's going to be fun. And she would, if you do that, and I'm going to get to reason why, if you make a wish list, a treasure map, or some way to keep track of what you really want to do, it makes you feel the excitement of each one. You'll put your energy to that one excitement, and then the doors will open up for that to happen. And I will explain that after I've talked about these other situations. Client calls, and her youngest sister, the client, this is just recent, the client is the oldest of 4 sisters. The client calls me and says, I don't know how to deal with this younger sister. She has never been sick. She's been so lucky, and she's just diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. She's completely out of control. She won't listen to anybody. She's shouting. She's angry at the world, and she cannot accept the fact that she's going to die. And it's stage 1. I had stage 3 plus B something. I was 6 months from it gradually going through my body. I got that close, everybody. And yet here's this woman, barely stage 1, and she will survive. I do pick up health issues in her mind later on in life, but she won't die from the cancer. And my client said, I don't know how to talk to her. And I said, first off, what makes you think that you're the one to talk to her? They're totally different people. And I said, you have to resonate with your sister on a level that she can hear you. So if you call her, this client friend is the most peaceful, loving person. Everybody meets, you'd want to know her. And yet the sister's out of control. Their vibrations don't sync up. I said, if you tried to talk to her, she would dismiss you as not as good as herself because she's looked down on you for all the illnesses you've had. You have a lot of nerve giving her advice, is how her mind would go. She understood that because she says, I've seen that with her. I says, what makes you think she would listen to you? Oh, man, I don't have to call her? Excuse me. Hell no. Don't call her. And in my world, I've always believed, and I have given advice freely, very rarely spontaneous, except for I talked to Shari. I said, Shari, let's get into UFOs about 6 months out. And now look what's happening. Because we cannot take what limited free will we presume to have by my taking and stepping outside of my authority. When you call me for advice, that gives me all kinds of authority. Oh, mine, let me go. Give you. But when you're in a situation, you're listening to somebody, you cannot give information unless they ask. And I says, my dear friend, if your sister calls and pleads with you to talk to you, guess what your role is? You get a book, you sit there with your coffee, and you go, uh-huh. When she says, can I ask you something? Then you pay attention, because a lot of times these people just want to rage. Now, what is really going on? This is somebody who chooses not to get advice, and she lives on what I call on the edge. People who listen to me and other therapists and other psychics and mediums, whatever, they're willing to risk identifying with people like us for insight. And God, the universe wouldn't have created so many of us. I mean, like, how many is each town if we weren't there to help people who wanted to help? And so I do believe that this is still a choice for all of us. In some ways, it's hard to ask for advice because you may go to a place of admitting that you don't know it all. Oh, I still don't know it all. 33 years I've been talking to dead people, and yet I'll talk to Shar or a child or somebody and say, I can't believe I said that. And they go, what's wrong with you? Don't you know? You've been doing this for 33 years. You still can't believe it. I says, I can't believe it. It's so amazing to me that we are even allowed to be able to do this. And of course, then people say to me, you know, the UFO people, they've been tweaking with you. And I go, well, they've been tweaking with a lot of us. And I do feel like it's to calm the planet down because people like me are very calm and Shar is calm. All those that Shar knows that do this for business, we're very peaceful people. I never rage. I never get really, well, I get mad at the cats if they fight, you know, but all I have to do is look cross-eyed at them and they just like, oh, mom's mad at us. So it's not like I rage. I don't. What's the point? What difference does it make? Why rage? So when you're put in a position of need to talk to someone in the family, I want you to step back and say, are we the same? If I rage and she's raging because of cancer, would she look at me? Am I somebody that can handle that in the first place? People have to ask, and you have to want to be there. And my friend just really didn't want to talk to her. It's too hard, she said. And I gave her permission not to. You don't have to. It's not your job just because you're the oldest of 4 girls.
Mhm.
People like that who have cancer. When I was going through cancer in 87 and then 88, they started me out cancer support groups. Even back then they had it. But cancer was so, chemotherapy was killer. In those years, people died of chemotherapy, and I was only 39. And so they said, well, we'll watch you for 15 years. Pardon me? I had a 15-year window to be clear of this. Live with that every day, and you'll see the true miracle of life. Oh, I love the sunsets. I love my children. I love how this looks and that looks. And paint. I painted everything about artwork all over the place just so I could be aware of what's beautiful. That's why I have so much artwork around here. So you have to be vibrationally attuned to people that will listen to you and vice versa. Don't volunteer. Um, I want to bring another situation very similar to that. And again, this is vibrationally. How many of all of us probably work? Those of you that are people who work from home, maybe don't have as much issues like this. I don't hear about it. I did work 24 years at Pacific Bell before I got into this. There was people there. Have you ever been in an office environment where people who get away with everything or people who always have grievances? I had a client outside of Sacramento, and every few months she was calling me. She was going to put a grievance in on somebody. Sexual harassment, bullying, being overlooked for promotion. And I remember thinking, is there that many things going on every office people work in? Just recently, just the last couple of weeks, I had a lady call and she says, "Oh my God, this woman is raging all the time. She always has a lawsuit." I go, "A lawsuit?" She says, "Yeah." Now that was the same person. Sorry, this was one lady, and now we have another lady by the same client. And she says this woman's always creating lawsuits and grievances, and she's always looking a way to get money off of people, sue them. And I thought to myself, God, it didn't even occur to me. It doesn't even occur to me to cause that kind of grief. I'm not looking all the time to see things happening. Why is that person so looking? And then you'll have people who are always picking on people who are not as good as they are. And it's almost like belittling people. And of course, there's psychology because I've taken bazillion classes. And I would say things like they don't feel good enough about themselves, so they have to put
Right.
everybody down. The ones that are in lawsuits, they also have a low self-esteem issue, and they want to be seen bigger and better than everybody, and that they have power and control over you and everybody else. They cause the biggest noise. We have to allow them to be there and do that. What their path is about, why they choose this life. I have mentioned this 100 times, Lynn. Hello there. YouTube. Um, a channel called LMN, or look up Past Lives of Children, Ghosted My Child, and watch 100 videos about children who talk about past lives at 2, 3, and 4 years old, and let alone people who talk to me about their next life or what they want to do next. And the visions I've had, and Shar, I past life regressed her, and um, oh, dozens of people in groups, and why are they coming up with stories that match who they are, what they are? Just I'm absolutely not how I was raised to understand. I didn't really get a good handle on past life reincarnation until I was in this business a couple of years, when all of a sudden it occurred to me, what am I talking about past life? Um, just wasn't the makeup of my family. They were Christian scientists and then Presbyterian. My father was Christian Science, and he scientist. His mother was a minister of the faith. He died when I was 6. We moved to Northern California. My mother married again when I was 7 or 8 or 9, and Presbyterian for a few years. Then I married a Catholic, and that clearly wasn't part of their theology. Um, I just am amazed that these people who experience lawsuits, rage, uh, disharmony, and what are they here to do? Is that their lesson, their experience? They have to justify why they are who they are? Or are they there to teach us, the victims, or the ones in line of their rage, that we have to learn compassion and, at some level, forgiveness? Because forgiveness is an energy level of which we all should attain. And once you learn how to forgive, or learn how to okay those people to be on their path, when people call me and they have these issues going on, and they say, well, how are you able to talk to all these people with all these issues all the time? And I said, they chose a life to have an experience, and I have to allow them to be in that life. And the word I teach people who want to learn about this from me, I use the word disassociate. It's a harsh word, but I learned to dissociate my life and my path with their life and their path and their choice of experiences. And I don't call it lesson, I call it experiences. Now, back up, and I want to word this differently in a way that's very basic. Now, I already told you I don't rage, I don't get, but my first marriage was turbulent. And I did divorce him, but we married at 19 and 20. That's what kids did in high school. Your family's Catholic. You date 4.5 years, you get married. What do we know about life? And so I own part of that. At the same time, what that taught me when I got the cancer, it taught me what's the value of life. So the absolute worst condition that you can be in, I was in that situation. Then I got cancer. And it woke me up to say the value of who I am and what is it. And I didn't know what I was talking about at the time. Didn't know that I was learning how to be an adult, how to be in not control of my life, but to allow my life to unfold the way it was meant to be. And part now of my being able to see spirit people and children, and I have entertained groups of people just on reincarnation, just telling them about their children and grandchildren. And it's very fun. I mean, like, it's amazing. Like I always, and I've entertained people on the radio here, and Shar has for you, Lynn, and other people who never heard me before. We could talk about people calling in. I'll see the dead people next to them or spirit people and describe them. And when they call in, I can't hear their voice. I can't see. I'll maybe get a nickname or something. I don't know what culture they're from. How am I supposed to know this? Well, I see them. And I've always said they're either going to be there or they're not going to be there. I can only tell you who I'm looking at. And because of that, I now know there's survival. I now know that we have a choice to come back if we wish to. That has released me of the fear of death. And because of that, my life force is very calm because I'm here to witness life. So as I was talking about the raging and these situations are very terrible, when I learned how important I was, I left that marriage. And then I got into this in 1990. Your vibration changes. You're more in sync with the universe because you're on your path. So synchronicities and coincidences appear more rampant because you're relaxed enough to see it happen. So the lady that rages, the person who is wanting to kill themselves, the one that is caught up because they got a very mild case of cancer. Wait a minute, I don't want you to write me about your children dying. I don't want that. My father was killed when I was 6 years old. So there's turbulence in everybody's family. My mother lost her father when she was 12. My father lost his father when he was a teenager. So when my husband got to the age my kids are in teens, I was holding my breath. I says, "Is this a hereditary thing? Am I supposed to? Three generations lost their fathers. I never could, it didn't happen. Thank goodness." I got off track again. I'm sorry. Okay. Um, oops. Okay. So I'm talking about when you're in rage, when you're confronted by someone's suicide, when you're confronted with responsibilities you can't deal with, you have to look at, am I the one to do this? Why is that person raging? You don't have to own it. You don't have to accept it. You just forgive them. Remember, I mentioned that earlier. Because what I'm looking at is if you can calm your spirit down, whether you want to call angels, your spirit guides, you want to call it whatever you want to call it, the energy that you relax enough and you forgive for yourself and for others, when you allow that person to rage because they haven't gotten to the spiritual level that you are at or wish to be, when you get that calm, you're going to notice things happening. Amazing things, bigger than mine. Just because I have 2 Tanglewoods in my life, people say, "Really?" I said, "Well, I'm married to Larry's, and my sister married a Larry." My mother said one day, "You girls don't know anybody else." You know nobody else? No other people out there without Larry? So, anyway, it was fun. Those are bigger coincidences. Synchronicities when it lines up a domino effect. Coincidences when things are brought together make you pay attention that you are on your path. And I laugh about that. But it's been all my life. Ever since I got into this, it's been on and on. And I guarantee you, when you can relax with your life and you want to see the end of your movie and you're willing to accept whatever's brought to you as part of your path that you're on. And I know what illness is about. Oh my gosh, I've had some big time. And they say, well, all psychic mediums get sick a lot. I says, you know what? I was a preemie and we were very, very poor. I just didn't have a very good beginning. And I think that's the bottom line. Where my sister was the next child, first, our lives got a little better. And I just think that sometimes you're just born this way. It's unfortunate, but Sharon and I will tell you, it's not like we wanted this. But it also shows me, because of the illnesses, our desire and our push to remain alive is very, very strong. And my happiness to be able to do this to help people who do touch base with me, I'm not soliciting work. What I'm trying to say to you is garner what I'm speaking to is if you love your life and you love where you're at, even if it's terrible, witness what experiences are brought to you and how do you manage it. I didn't say go out and hit your spouse with a baseball bat. I conquered my fear. What you want to say is, I forgive you for being angry. I forgive you for mistreating me, but it's not okay anymore. Work around that and get them at a level of you're being bigger and better emotionally because you've learned how to survive life on a different level. I can go outside with my mind. I can go outside and smell the air. So my husband has seen 3 UFOs, and I see spirit people all the time. Well, he can't live with me without getting more sensitive. And so he does have a really good perception of spirit people. He runs in the other night. He goes, "Nancy." And I run, "What?" He says, "It's in the sky. Come out." I run out there. Oh my gosh, what is that? And I got so excited. And I started to realize, because I'm bringing it up a different way tonight, I did go in the house. I got my phone, got out to the front, and I did upload it to UFO reporting station, but it was too far away. What I got was he has seen more UFOs than most people I've ever talked to. How is he tuned into it? He's tuned into them. He went outside just in time to see that UFO coming our way. Now, why did he go out? Well, because we want to know if we can open the windows because it's been hot. He goes out there at 10 o'clock at night to see, and he's yelling, Nancy. I got so excited. I went, oh, he says, now you've seen one. And I thought, well, how about that? And we did report it. So he is doing, he's a very calm person, but he likes that UFO. He's getting into it a little bit. And I think he's thinking more about it than I am. He's constantly. So I think he's in tune to knowing when to go out. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you been, I want to admit to something. Long time ago, after my divorce, I started thrift store shopping. Yep, I'll admit to it. You know why? Because you could go and thrift and not spend a lot of money. The action of walking up and down the aisles to calm oneself. When I got into this, it was very not disturbing to me, but it was hard for me to get to a place of listening to people's problems all the time. I got a lot of death and dying, and people's children died, and the husband died. And it was like I need to disassociate, and that's when I was learning how to do that, allowing people to be who they are. So I would shop in thrift stores, and I lived in, let's see, where did I live at the time when I first got divorced? Citrus Heights. I lived at Citrus Heights, and Sunrise Mall, everybody, that direction. And so I thought, well, for today, I'm just going to go somewhere else. I would do that. And then one day it occurred to me that I would dream or have a waking dream or something about a thrift store clear across town. And I would say, well, I don't want to drive that far. And then it would keep coming up. Or I would see an ad for it or something. And I would go there and I would walk in and something I really was needing and forgot that I needed would be right there. It was actually kind of amazing. And I would tell people, and one of my friends, she says, oh my God, I'm doing it too. I've gone to enough places that are we stepping out of our body at night and thrifting at these different stores, finding that one thing we're looking for? Like a beaded bag for an event. I go there, clear across town, and there it is. The one thing I'm looking for is right there. Or a pair of shoes. And no, I don't buy undergarments. Rarely. And I don't buy everything there. No, absolutely not. I use it as a means of quieting my mind. And
Retail
you don't
therapy.
have to spend a lot. It's retail therapy.
They call it
Absolutely.
retail therapy.
Retail therapy. And it's becoming very popular now. So I find that crazy. And I think to myself, how is that happening? Well, unconsciously, we may want that beaded night bag, right? And so the beaded night bag represents an evening. It was a special evening. I can't remember what it was for. It was a black bag. It was like this big. And I think it was an event like Evolving Times Expos. It's been a long time. And I need just a little night bag. And I remember thinking about the bag and what pleasure it would bring to me. And so that has a vibration. It has musical notes. And we talked about this the other night, how the universe it was told to me that the universe has music. And since then, this was like 92 when the Traveler came to me, and that the universe has music. And it was a YouTube, Google music of the universe, see if it comes up, because it's very fascinating. And that there's musical notes everywhere. The filaments vibrate, which creates everything. Atoms vibrate. And so everything is that. And I think we learn to relax our music. We learn to tune into things around us. And so even the little black bag has a musical notes. And so our mind reaches out to a store that we go to often or not, and we feel that vibration there. And that tells us to go there. And that's how this works. And so when that happens, if you stand back and go, well, how did I do that? Do I jump out of my body at night and go shopping to all these places? It's because you've given a vibration of that bag that you want. And you think about these different places you've been, and you go through the store really quick with your mind and you find that vibration. That's how you know they'll be there. How many times have you in the audience need something from the grocery store? And you know if you go to that one you always go to, you'll not get it. Well, this has happened to me so often that I know when not to go shopping. They're not going to have it. I'm not even going to bother. But I'll wait 2 days when they now unload the truck in the back. They brought it forward. And one of the things I really love is Walmart's water, the flavored water, the bubbly stuff. I tell you, everybody loves it. It's gone a lot. And I'll just sit and I'll relax and I'll go, okay, I got 2 flavors I really, really like. And I'll think about it. I go, nope, they're out. They're out. I'm not going to go today. Because in my mind, I can taste that, right? I really like that water. It's cold, it's bubbly. Their brand, I really like it. I can taste it right now. When I do that and go to think about the store, I can feel if it's there or not. Is that synchronicity, a coincidence? Is it our guides, or is it intuition? It's vibration. And like I said, the experience that are brought to us from people who rage, from people who are always causing problems, family members that put us off, you need to relax and allow and pull your vibration into forgiveness levels so that you can search out with your mind if you should interfere, put your 2 cents in, or whatever. Oh my gosh. Or try to prevent a suicide. I'm never one to say, well, go ahead, kill yourself. I mean, because I do believe in survival. If they're talking to me about, excuse me, this is a tough topic. I apologize. If they're talking to me about why are they still, I'll never forget her. She said to me, give me a reason to continue living. And I was just like, relax, Nancy, breathe in, breathe out. Sorry, I got something in my eye. I don't want to go over because I did want to, I'm sorry. So what I'm trying to say is at some point, the ultimate lesson for all of us, and Shar and I have talked about other topics which I'll bring up, is that in your mind, are you living the life you've desired, you designed, or you requested? If you relax, if you want to do things, if you want that promotion, if it's meant to be, it will be. If it's not meant to be, it cannot be. Once we accept that and not be a victim of, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it. If you have to put the effort out. If it's meant to be, then you're going to get it. But you won't get it if you say, well, I'm not going to worry about it because everything that's meant to be for my life will just show up. That doesn't work either.
Right.
And the other thing I want to talk about, the last thing I want to talk about is dating, marriage. Not marriage so much, but dating. If I told you every week, 2 or 3 people will call me, where's that man? Who's coming? Just give me a description. Oh my gosh. Okay, for you ladies that are looking for somebody, I want you to do homework. I want you to decide who you are as a person and what you offer the person coming. And then I want you to say to yourself, of the man that's coming, what can he offer me? And it's true, because this was the last thing I want to talk about. This is where we get them to a place of forgiveness and acceptance. I forgive what I've done wrong. I would like to be a person that someone else would desire. In this relationship, I want to be able to say, I can do this, I can do that. So that when he comes in, he resonates vibrationally to you. He's going to offer you things that you have wanted to do. He will make you a better person because of his interest. You're going to make him a better person because of your interest. So your vibration melds together. If you're a rager, if you always want lawsuits, if you're always dealing with family dynamics and it upsets you continually, but you want to date somebody, you are not healthy enough emotionally to accept someone in your life, because what happens, those things will stop and then you become a different person. Vibrationally, So I was watching this show, probably was the 80s, and it was a culture of another continent. And the people there just wear loincloths. It was pretty primitive. And I was amazed at this, um, what we call the priest of the group. He would do demonstrations of his power over his body. Probably some of you, I think it was something beyond something or magnificent. I don't know who hosted the show, but it was like in 1980s. And he would stand there, and he would stand there. So I got my hand out. He would put his huge rod of whatever. So the culture wasn't so primitive, but got a rod. And he would stick it in his arm and would come out the other side, but there'd be no blood. And maybe I said earlier, I want you to remember what I said. We are filaments. We are 80% air, everybody, or 90. It's amazing. If we melt down into nothing, take the air out of us, we're just a little something like this big. We resonate, we vibrate. We are alive with air and filaments and music. And so this fella puts us, because he's learned to control his emotions, his anxiety, his molecules. And that's all I'm saying. That was a huge awakening for, I remember all these years thinking, I would like to try that. Oh no. I'd look at my arm and I'd go, oh, I'm going to bleed. Well, guess what? You're going to bleed. You could put in your mind, I don't like my life. I want to die. And the universe will laugh at you and say, oh, well, you're not quite done, honey. You get sick around. And no, I don't like a 2 and 3-year-old to die of cancer. Please don't write me letters. Or talking to the ones that are who are alive and want more. And what I'm telling you is that witness synchronicitous situations when you're in a place where you are receiving that information from the universe that you are on track. When you get those messages like I did with Tanglewood here, I went, no matter what we do, we're going to get this house. There you go. It fell right into our lap. Like within 3 days, everything put together. I went, wow, that almost made my head spin around. Okay. Was that something you wanted to say, Char? I hope I'm not overwhelming everybody.
I'm just reading the chat.
Is there something that they're talking about here?
Run Rich Entertainment.
Yeah, the UFO. What was that again? When you guys saw that UFO, do you know for sure that was extraterrestrial or human flying it? We've had UFOs since Hitler gave us one for the... Yes, I do believe in all that, sweet. I do. This one did not blink. It was a circular, but I couldn't tell for sure. It was gold and white, gold and white color. No vibration, no lights, no blinking, no sound. And I really didn't know how high it was. It was clearly 2 or 3, 4 times the height of the big oak trees in the backyard. It looked really big. But what threw me off when I was watching it go over the house, how smooth it was. No, I don't know if it was human or alien, but to me it was a UFO. It was certainly unidentified. It's not something that I have ever seen before. Silence, the smoothness of it, no, it was just very bright, like people who wear glasses, you take glasses off and it's kind of like that. Nothing. It was just amazing. No, it was not satellite. It was not the space station. My husband got on there and saw there was no satellites going over. It was going west to east, not the direction that of anything I know. No, it was not starlight. It wasn't anything. It was way too close to the ground. That was very, very exciting. Thank you for your input. Yes, I even thought of that. The extra are any of the extras who have been in contact with and trading with our government officials, are any of them the demonic? No, I don't believe in demonic, sweet. Absolutely do not. I've been seeing spirit people for so long that what you would call demonic is actually spirit people who've gone insane. I've been doing this for so long, virtually almost every day, and I've never seen anything but spirit people who have been spirit people for so long that they lost who they were. They lost their personality. They could go over, but they denied the spirit friends and families who were there to greet them because in their own weakness. They can't go on because of something that could not live with. And I don't deny you the right to believe in the demonic, but Shar and I have had talks, and I know other people want me on their shows, and they want to talk demonic. I says, I can't do that language. That's something that you need in your religion or your culture. If that makes you feel better about the world and to deal with it, but in my world, I just can't see them. They just don't show to me.
You know,
Go ahead,
when you
Shar.
think about the aliens and you think about this whole extraterrestrial thing, I've had people on this show who believe that they're fallen, that these aliens are fallen angels and whatnot. So you're going to get a facet of people, and I don't know how they're going to convince people of what's going on, because you're always going to have a facet of people that believe this way, and that believe this way, and that believe this way. So at some point, there's going to have to be somehow that they're able to convince everybody to be on the same page with it, because you're going to have these, people that have their beliefs, and we're all raised on, like you say, our particular religious beliefs about what we believe in, whether it's angels or demons or whatever.
And you have to allow it. Remember I said earlier?
Yeah.
We have to forgive ourselves, forgive them, but not forgive them, but you have to allow people to be on the path they are in. There's people that don't ever talk to me, but their family members will. And then they'll tell their family members, by the way, I had a dream last night, and this is what I dreamt. And then that family member who doesn't believe in psychics will believe that person. They had a dream. Oh, okay, I'll believe you. And there's no percentage of me to lie.
It's like anything else. It's like, you get followers on YouTube, you get followers on Facebook, and then it's all fine and dandy. Then they realize what I do, what you do, and then suddenly you see them drop off because they just, it freaks them out, or whatever, that they don't believe in what we believe. So I mean,
absolutely, and
it's just how it is.
You have to go there and just be okay that they're on a different path, and I really do okay. Religion is very, very important for our families, our structures. It's really, really important to everybody. I'm a spiritual minister. I got this ministry the old-fashioned way. It took me 2 years, and then I was with the church for 15 years. Universal Christ of the Master, and UCM they call it. And I was there with Citrus Heights, California, with Ken and Ollie Keck, and they're no longer, he passed away a long time ago. I don't know if she's in the church, but I worked with the church for 15 years. And at some point you would think that there were demons and bad things happening, that would have seen them all the people. I used to average 30 to 50 people every Friday night, 13 years. There was a couple of years in between that I was busy with other things. You would think I would have seen a demon, but I believe that whatever path someone's on, they need that. Who am I? I do it my way. You do it your way. It's okay. I've had hard enough lessons with the illnesses and divorce and things that have happened to me. And I have to allow that was to bring me to a place in my life to accept this is who I am. And in some ways, if you don't like me, that's okay. You don't have to talk to me. It's really okay, because you're not meant to then. And everybody is taught different. All these psychics and mediums like myself out there, I never say to somebody, I don't believe them, because they're getting a truth and I get a truth, and they're saying their truth. Right or wrong, doesn't matter to me. I give them kudos for being brave enough to get on the air and say something. It's amazing.
Well, it's like my old friend Gloria Young used to say about ghost hunting. And when we first started this group up back 19 years ago, we used to attend like other big time, what we call big time ghost hunters lectures, so that we could learn. And I remember attending one at the library here in Sacramento, and the best thing I ever heard is, this is an exact science.
This is an exact science.
Inexact. And she says, you're going to read my book. I'll have my opinion of what's going on. You're going to read somebody else's book, and they've got their opinion. They got their opinion of what's going on. That's just how this is. And that's just the way that the universe works. I mean, you got religions, and people are going to believe the way they're going to believe. You can't, it's not your spot or my spot to say, no, I think you're wrong. It's whatever they believe, because you're not, It's just how it works.
Okay, so let's do one more step.
Okay.
I have okay, so this woman, I think I mentioned to her last time, I'm not sure, military lady, and I've been talking to her. Her daughters are all in their 20s, and I've been talking to her since her daughters are 7, 8, 9 years old. And she married a military man, and she wouldn't tell them that I was talking to her about things that would bring them together to get them married to where they were going to live. And one day
Mm-hmm.
she shared with him, and he was a top military person. They both retired. That's why I can talk to them. I'm not giving the name, not telling you anything about them. Now he's a client. And she says, I'm going to talk to Nancy. Oh, good. Let me ask her. And what I think it is that everybody vibrates at a different place.
Mm-hmm.
I am a no nonsense. I say it as I am. They are no nonsense. Say it as it is. We vibrate. So you're going to be pulled to listen and receive information from people who resonate with you. Vibration again, musical notes. And the audience should know that I was doing 6 years of cemetery tours in Sacramento, and this punky college kid who was writing for a newspaper was
Who would that
come
be?
in. I know it all. She comes in just waltzing in. I know it all. Guess what happened? She got it right in. She jumped right in this. Look at her laughing. I met her and she come just a punky kid. I don't believe in this. Oh, Nancy. And I was pointing out and telling stories that I probably don't, people probably wonder what I'm talking about. So I had the privilege of being asked to do cemetery tours. The downtown Sacramento Cemetery at 10th and H Street. Yes, 10th and H Street. Big, big cemetery. Some had come in with baseball bats or sledgehammers and damaged thousands of headstones. 10,000 headstones there, and so many were damaged they couldn't afford to fix them. So they said, well, let's do something at the Halloween. Let's have a psychic medium come in. So John Betancourt invited me to come in July. Let's see how hot it's July day and turn this on and tell stories of what you find. He wouldn't let me look at the tombstones. I had to see the spirit purple and have them tell me what was going on. Well, made a believer out of him. We didn't do just a couple. We did 6 years for 6 years until he then passed away. So did I do all that to prove to him? Or did I do that for the people I talked to? At both. And then she showed up. I started 96. Look at her laughing. 97, I think I met you, or 98. And you started this. She was working for newspapers. And were you going to school also doing kind of a dual thing going on?
At the time. I was doing in charge of the feature section that
Right. That's what.
I thought, well, I'll go talk to a psychic. I had talked to Robin Street. I'd done all these interviews previously. I talked to Dennis Hawk. I interviewed him.
Uh-huh.
I talked to Robin Street. I talked to everybody. But the reason why I was so sarcastic going into the cemetery tour,
just
Dennis Hawk did this to me. I talked to Dennis Hawk at the time, and he told me and my photographer that 101 people had been abducted by aliens in Sacramento. And I'm like, okay. That's fun. That's okay. So we leave. We go to the cemetery tour. Uh-huh. You have to send this a little sign-in sheet. And my photographer and I are standing there. I look at the sign-in sheet, and we are 102 and 103 to sign in. And I looked at my photographer, and I said, look, the 101 that have been abducted by aliens are here.
The universe is sharing you. That was that synchronicitous coincidence situation to know that you were in the right place at the right time, right?
And then after the tour, Nancy's sitting at a table, signing her book, signing her autographs, doing whatever Nancy's doing. So I'm interviewing Nancy, and I admit it, I have psychic skills, but again, we're all born with it, and when you get to a certain age, because you get so busy doing stuff, it kind of goes to the back burner. And at that point, everything was in the back burner for me. Nancy's signing these autographs, and she's sitting there, and so I'm doing an interview with her in between, and I'm sarcastic as hell. And all of a sudden, she goes, mid-sentence, we were talking about where the ghosts were, and how they hung out during the day and all this. Next thing you know, Nancy goes, whoop, there's one right there. I just looked at her and I went, oh my God. Yeah, so that's how the night went.
Well, so I would tell the spirit people to stand still as they would come right up to me. And they would look at me like, I'll volunteer. It's like, it wasn't just the people that hang around their own tombstone, like the senator. There was a senator, a long, tall, thin senator, and he pointed down to the ground. He says, "My wife's buried next to me." And John Betancourt, he says to me, "Wait a minute, there's no women in here. These were just the political figureheads." And
Right.
and I go, "Can't help it." He's pointing down the ground. He says, "My wife's right there." So John was doing this is the preliminary that we were going through. He jumps up there like he's going to get me, like I was standing on the ground and this gentleman was leaning up against his obelisk and looking thing. And he's pointing to the ground. My wife's right there. And John jumps up to where he was to catch Nancy if she was wrong. And he says, "I'll be damned." There's a woman there next to him and it's his wife. And I go, well, like I always say, I'm never hung up by either they're going to tell me the truth or not. They either stand there or not. And people don't lie when they're in spirit. And so, unless they're insane, I guess. And I thought, well, wonder why he wants to know. I think he just wanted her to be acknowledged. I think he was loving, but I don't know if you were there, but he used to get. So anyway, during the tours, I would show people that it's possible to feel spirit people.
Oh, the cold
and
spots,
they would,
yeah.
Cold spots and the high energy electrical energy they have. And it could be in the middle of the street. It could be near a stone. It could be near a tree. It could be near a light fixture. They would just walk up to me and they'd smile at me. And this one large man, he showed me his body. He went, ah. And I go, okay, I got a victim here. I got a ghost person once. And so I called the audience up and the group that night, and I'll never forget this. I says, "Hands up, anybody want?" And of course the hands went up and I reached for this one lady, and I got this on my testimonials at nancymatzpsychic. Her friend rather, brought her. And afterwards she wrote me this wonderful letter. It's in testimonials. I grabbed her hand and I says, feel the air, slap, slap. Now feel the air with your hand tickling. Do you feel the air? And I'd take her wrist and I'd walk over to the spirit man going like this. He was a big guy. I said, "Would you do me a favor? Feel that." And she goes, "Oh my God, it's different." I says, "Feel the air. How does it feel like?" "Now feel him." And she put her hand in there and she goes, "Oh my God." And it was almost like unbelievable. Anyway, not knowing, this lady brought that friend to the cemetery. She was dying of pancreatic cancer. She left knowing that we survived, and she died. And that lady wrote that letter to me of the cemetery tour. So testimonials, there's a lot of them. Just read the ones you want, get all the way to the one of the letter talking about her friend dying pancreatic cancer, and I proved that survival. Wow.
Jerry, yes, spirit kind can either feel hot or cold.
I experienced a spirit person that made everything extremely hot and uncomfortable. Yep. Why not? Yep. Jerry, that was the experience that you had. Unfortunately, I suspect that was a wound up, unhappy spirit person because they twirl around like that. So that might have been someone that you probably wouldn't have wanted to know in life. Or if you did, most spirit people are so excited about being alive and experiencing life. They miss being alive. And I think that's why a lot of people come back. Life's not easy and it's not always fun, but it's nice. And I tell people, I said, take one breath, one heartbeat, and one step at a time. That's all we can do. And once you have too much to go around you going on, if you just go to a place that's saying, I can only do one thing at a time, it puts a lot of things in perspective. You don't have to kill yourself.
Talking about your spiritual journey, that can happen. It doesn't happen to everybody to have a spiritual. It's wonderful to have a spiritual journey. But what makes them hard though is, like you say, you're trying to figure out, what it all means. It's like the old days.
He's trying to. He's trying to find somebody to give him more truth, and that's kind of.
Yeah.
I don't.
Now, with your little white orbs, I can tell you something that Sylvia Browne in her book wrote about stuff like that, is that Sylvia Browne felt that God wouldn't show you anything you can't handle.
That's true.
And so probably your white orbs are something that's good. They're not full body apparitions, but they're something good. And so he's trying to show you that's good. So I mean, it's just as you progress in your spiritual journey, you will see more and more and more and more if you keep pursuing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to practice. I don't know anything about Rich, what you mentioned. I know there's a lot of psychedelics, LSD, and all those. When they were first introduced, people had amazing trips and just. I don't even drink coffee. I drink lots of coffee, but I've never had any kind of drugs in my system at all ever. Um, I do like a. I can, he's coughing. Um, I do like a margarita if I don't have to make it, and that's about the extent of my drinking. So I think it's possible to have those things happen. I don't know because I can't address that. I would encourage you to read anybody's story so that it resonates with you and you understand it. Once we start accepting that this is possible, it doesn't hurt to have it in your family tree. My father was immensely gifted, drove my mother nuts. He was always talking to his dead father, and mom just really had a hard time with that. But he also predicted his own death. Took a life insurance policy out April 1st, 1955, midnight. He was killed by a drunk driver coming home to us at 2 in the morning. It was 3 Korean War veterans celebrating. They were war heroes, and they all died. I never could understand that. But he took a life insurance, and people said he must have tried to commit suicide. How do you do that when someone hits you on your side of the freeway? So he was very, very gifted. My mother, whose family is American Indians, years later, when I went 7 or 8, somewhere around there, I entertained the people at her retirement villa, and she was popular for a whole month. And she was so excited. People, oh, is that your daughter that talked to us? Oh, she'd go like that. And she said, well, I have to admit, I've always known I had some abilities. I says, oh my gosh, Mom, you mean I had the leprechauns on one side of the family and the spirits worshippers on the other side? Hello. I got the double whammy.
Well, we're
Yeah.
supposed to be in a era right now of spiritual awakening,
Yeah. I believe it.
and I think that's what's happening to the majority of the people is they're starting to see stuff. They're starting to realize that it's not all BS, But it's difficult. Run Rich, you mentioned like taking mushrooms and stuff. Hey, the Native Americans did it for years.
Absolutely.
Really, and that helped them see more. I'm not going to condone it.
I'm
I'm
not.
just saying,
Me either. If that's how they can get to that
that's
stage.
yeah, that's how they can get to that stage. Yeah,
Or
that's what it
let me
takes.
put it this way, if that gets you to that place where you feel your body a certain way, when people
Right.
say, how do you do this? How do you do this? There is a switch in my head. I'm not reading anybody now. Shar, everybody. I don't care to know
I got you
anybody.
guys blocked. Yeah, I got you guys blocked. Okay.
Whatever. What I'm saying is when someone says I have a question and it's okay for me to give an answer, I feel a shift and I can go to them. When I started out with the spirit of grace, I was already that person, but I didn't know it.
Hmm.
I could, because I was, and you don't want to know things I've happened to me before that spirit of grace experience, May 4th, 1990. Um, but once I started practicing within the church environment, I realized there was a shift in my energy of which I could then say, I know that I can do this because I can feel the vibration of my body different. I call it off shifting. And it's like
Hmm.
railroad track. You're on the left side. Take one step and get on the right track. That felt different to me. So I can feel that difference. Um, and I really love it. It's addicting to talk to people and have them go, oh my gosh. I'm one of those people that I like stepping on the edge. I don't want to wait for a month or two, whatever, to get that right instantaneous. Yes, you're right. Right. I love that because that proves to me that I'm not making it up, nor am I insane, but I'm accepting this is my journey and this is who I am. And if I
Hmm.
could teach anybody, what we talked about tonight is vibration. you have to get understand your physicalness and your vibration so that you can manipulate, accept coincident synchronicities. This also lends itself for you to develop the gift, the ability to do what I do. I think everybody
Mm-hmm.
should try it. There are not enough
Mm-hmm.
of us around.
No.
How many? No, but I tell you, a lot of people I talk to, grandma always knew stuff. I'm going to be one of those
Mm-hmm.
grandmas. I got great grandchildren now. That will find out mom did. They see all these
Mm-hmm.
YouTubes I'm done just for you. My own station, Nancy Psychic. I have things from the Spirit of Grace. Going back to the early '90s. You could see me.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of them there. Shar has me on a playlist. So the first line of videos for her, you just click arrow and you'll see all of mine come up. I've been trying to transfer them or have them available at my channel also. But you can see me all the way back there and you go, oh, she's old now. Look at her so young. 33 years.
The
I've
important thing
grown.
to remember in all this is, like I teach in my psychic development class, my two
Uh-huh.
classes that I do teach, is that we're all born with abilities,
Yeah.
and especially when we're young, and we hit a certain age, and then we become teenagers, and then we don't care anymore because we're too busy dating or doing whatever we're doing, trying to look pretty and all that good stuff. But then, for some people, when they get older, your abilities start to kind of come back, and then that's where you start your spiritual exploration. That's where it all begins. And it's interesting
Mhm.
because with me, I'll admit this freely, I went through a period, I was so disgusted with things that I even turned my back on the Almighty.
The divine,
I
huh?
went, I went through a period like that for a while, and then I came back, back to it. The more I ghost hunted, and saw what was going on ghost hunting, even with the
Yeah.
psychics I was around, the more it brought me back around because I think there's room for all of that. No matter what religion you're
Mhm.
in, even if it says, oh, no, don't deal with that, don't deal with this bad stuff, I still think there's room for it. There's still room,
What
for
tribe you
stuff like
belong
that.
to doesn't matter as long as you're
Yeah, it
learning
doesn't matter.
what we're
And then
talking
I
about,
found
right?
out over the years, as I've done my research into this stuff, you look at the Catholic religion, you look at the Native Americans, you look at everybody, and there's always one all powerful being that's running things. It doesn't matter which religion you're in. So it's the same being. It's just what he's done is either he's tailored it for you guys for whatever religions, or you've tailored your religion to the belief with him. And I've always
Mhm.
believed that.
Mhm.
I've always believed that at Christmas, if I'm walking the streets and I'm alone and I'm in some strange city and there's a Baptist church on the corner and it's Christmas Eve, I can go in there and celebrate along with them just as well as I can go into a Catholic church and celebrate.
Mhm. Yes.
But if you're on a spiritual journey, it's awesome to be on a spiritual journey because you start looking into other religions. You start doing that research, and it's fascinating to see just how the parallels run.
Am-
Just like
amazing.
The Native
Amazing.
Americans knew about the birth of Christ, the birth of Christ. They knew the whole story. Nobody told them, but they knew the whole story. So it's amazing.
Well,
It's
there's a lot of
amazing.
parallelisms in History Station. History's
Yeah.
channel has Ancient Aliens, and the Travel
Mm-hmm.
Station has groups that search all over the world. That's a totally different topic. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I do believe the same as you. My first marriage was a Catholic, and
Mm-hmm.
I just, it was just, I should probably share with them. I've been this way all my life, everybody. And one of the biggest deals, and I don't want any letters, I did get some from this experience. My sister wanted me to go to a fabric store with her at Florin Boulevard, Florin and Bradshaw, I think. And it was a fabric store, and next door was Pharaoh's Ice Cream Parlor.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I had a 3 year old in tow, and I was pregnant with my son, 3 months
Mm-hmm.
pregnant. And we went in there to have ice cream, and we ordered it. And I think I took one bite, and I had such an overwhelming sense of dread. And of course, the only thing I think of was my husband. Uh, my first husband loved to work on cars,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, he had had accidents. And if you're by yourself, you have an accident in the garage. In
Mm-hmm.
those years, 72, 73, you know, it just wasn't easy to get medical
Mm-hmm.
help. So I had this sense, and got in the Volkswagen. In those years, there were no seat belts, and the daughter was in the back seat jumping up around. And all of a sudden, I'm probably 5 minutes away. How many minutes it takes to get out of the parking lot, get on Bradshaw floor, and get to the freeway in downtown Sacramento. And my daughter starts screaming, "Mom, my mom, my mom!" And I look in the back window, and this big bellowing black smoke was filling up the whole back. I had the Volkswagen, the little round window, where I couldn't even see through it. Come to find out that Farrah's ice cream parlor was hit by an antique plane as soon as we left. And 22 kids and their families were killed. 22 children lost their lives. And it was in the big news. I think it was September of 72. I think so. And I walked out just in time. Something told me to leave. I don't know if my son needed to be born or it was because of the journey I was going to have, but they made us both leave. And my sister left too. And I got a note from a twin. She says, "How dare you not tell the group? How dare you?" And I felt terrible because she survived, but her twin did not. And I wrote her back and I said, "And how would I have been received if I had told your birthday party? This woman who's pregnant walks around and says to you, I have a feeling I have to leave. Do you not?" It was so horrible. And so I don't want anybody to write me, but I was there. In fact, I had 2 clients come. The the fireman who was headed there with his son was the one that helped. And this is written up somewhere and on my website, his article to me. He helped the pilot out of the plane. And he wrote me because he was supposed to be part of the party and he was late. And so that was quite amazing. And there was another gentleman that was someone I knew who was helping the fire from the plane. He was a fireman that came from a different direction. So there was a few coincidences of which they touched base with me. And I think it was a terrible thing for me to experience it and not ever forget it and look back on it. That feeling, that awakening that everybody, Rich and everybody that can have any abilities, tune into it. I know it has saved my lives. It has also amused me tremendously. To amuse me, meaning I had the sense that someone wanted me to stop at the 7-Eleven and get a hot dog. And I went, I love hot dogs. It's a long story. It goes back to my childhood when I was circus and grandma took me to get a hot dog because I couldn't stand the aerial performance. And the idea of a hot dog goes back to that warm and fuzzy feeling. Grandma took care of me. So I thought about it. I went, I really don't want a hot dog. So I round the curve. 7-Eleven was here around the curve. And the arms of the railroad track came down. I sat for a half hour waiting for a train to go. And I said, I could be eating a hot dog. Instead, I got to sit here and watch a train go by. So they amused me. Is it my guides? Is it my intuition? Well, someone was telling me, you want a hot dog? Doesn't that sound good? You don't have to go for it. Have a hot dog. It was during the years I was single and getting into this. And so I really encourage everybody to get into it. We need to, but the basics of all that is controlling your emotions and feelings and have a resonation of calm. You have to understand that. Meditation can do that. Just understand the concept can do that. And then when you're in a situation where you want to do a reading, you're here, shift and allow you to get information. Oh, wait a minute. This is interesting. You should look up at the way they save in the chairs. And okay, that's exactly where I was coming from and going to Fruitridge after I got the call that my son was shot. Oh, you had an experience with the son, but you were going that direction. So this gentleman was there when I was there. Honey, you may be the same age as I am. Oh, that's close. That's nice. Yeah, that was a terrible event. It really it marred me in some ways because you get that survival, like, oh, how come I got home, my husband didn't know I was all the way down there with my sister. Why didn't you tell me we were going? I says, never had this problem before. Do I need to tell you everywhere I go now? It was that kind of conversation. He says, I didn't know you were there. I drove in the driveway. I was all crying. My daughter was in the back seat going, what's wrong with you, Mom? I go, oh my God, we were there at Fruitridge. Terrible. Talk about close calls.
All right.
All right, we got done.
Yeah, we're
Talk too
done.
long.
We're done. Let's see.
Thank you everybody for coming and the new people here tonight.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Okay, let me do some refreshers here. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Pacific, I will be teaching a psychic development class number 1, which is a basic development class, and some of the stuff that Nancy just covered a few minutes ago, I cover in there. Meditation, how to calm your energy down to the point that you can leave your body safely and return back into your body. So I teach meditations for that. I teach you how to get to your spirit library. I teach you how to meet your spirit guides, how, how to meet your spirit animal, how to get your spirit message, how to see your spirit object. Uh, I teach you how to find your spiritual place. And the whole time, while I'm doing that, is I'm teaching you how to open and close that psychic door so that nothing negative can come through. So it's a big class. I teach a whole bunch of that stuff. I teach you how to ground yourself, so that the enemies don't get you. And it's a very beneficial class. It really is. So come on over to California Haunts meetup, California Haunts Paranormal Investigation Team meetup. Join up over there. It's free to join over there. Click on events. You'll see the psychic development class. Sunday, we're recruiting for team members. So same process. Come on over there. Sign up for that class. This is what I teach my team members. It's a very intense class. If you don't take this class, you don't become a team member. That's just how it is. I mean, I'm very fussy about who I have coming in on my team. So if you're interested in joining our paranormal investigation team, to get out in the field and do stuff, come on Sunday and join that class. Okay. If you like the show, share it with 5 people. If you hated the show, share it with 5 of your enemies. We're equal opportunity here. We're trying to get the word out about the show. Again, if you're watching from Facebook and you like what you saw tonight, please hit that follow button and leave us a thumbs up, a happy face, or whatever. Also, same thing goes for YouTube. If you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and happy faces and all that good stuff. Comment. I'm always answering comments and stuff. And so I think I'm going to leave you guys alone now, and hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow or Sunday. And I'll leave you with Nancy's information, and here we go.
Nice seeing everybody. Thank you for coming.
So let's meet Nancy. Okay, her websites are nancymatzpsychic.com, all lowercase, nancymatzauthor.com, and the N and the M and the A is capped, youtube.com/nancymatzpsychic, and then you can help Get Me Out of This Funk by Nancy Matz. You got 2 worlds: developing your psychic skills, and the Unwilling Sacrifice. And of course, you can get those at Amazon. Okay, Sunday, of course, I'll be back at 6:30 p.m. Pacific to read from Omnipresent. That'll be the last part of the Omnipresent, and we have a book coming in behind that, so it depends how long it takes to read Omnipresent Sunday. We may start the new book that we have coming in, and Maren Muter has allowed me to read her book, and you guys are going to like this. It's all about past lives. It's all about her researching past lives and her experience with past lives. So we're going to start that book maybe Sunday, maybe the Sunday after. We'll see how it goes with the last of Omnipresent. And then on Monday, my guest is, let me pull this up here. I can't read my own bloody writing. Oh, Oliver Martin Cass is going to be with us, author of the Oliver Martin Cass. And that's the pre-record I did the other day. And he is going to be talking about his book of unique survivals from falling out of the sky. And one of those things is a stewardess who somehow fell out of an airplane at 30,000 feet with no parachute and survived.
Yeah.
So it's stories like
There's
that.
a couple of stories like that. Yeah. Remember I said earlier, if it's not your time, you don't go.
Yeah. So that'll be Monday. That's a pre-recorded video, so that will be Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. And again, Sunday I'll be here reading live. Okay, guys, that's it. I will see you, and have a great one, everybody.
Good night, everyone.